Hey everybody, this is Mike Bowman with my TED Talk about transforming a problem of practice. Well, the problem of practice that I observed is that social studies has been put on the back burner for various reasons. Unfortunately, it is crammed into the end of the day time slot at the school that I work in, and it's also crammed with science, that the first part of the day is taken up by ELA, which includes reading and writing, and a huge math block. And then throughout the day, we know that kids have recess, they have specialists, they have lunch, and we're left with a 45-minute block to teach either social studies or science, which is a shame because social studies or history is where we came from. And I think it's important that the kids know, one of the classes that we have talked in the past is about a sense of understanding what democracy is and understanding where they came from. And I think that teachers have kind of lost the luster in teaching social studies because it's almost a fatigue for everybody by the end of the day. As I said, their schedules are busy, and by the time we get to that point, it's basically just reading out of a book. So this is the problem of practice that I see, is that it's easy to take the curriculum that is there from a textbook, read a chapter, do an assessment via worksheet or oral assessment or test, and then be done with it. We're not bringing history to life. I wonder if that's because maybe some teachers don't consider it a core subject anymore, or they lack confidence in teaching it. And the problem is, when a teacher lacks confidence in teaching a subject like social studies, the kids pick up on it. And when the kids pick up on it, they lack confidence, or they lack enthusiasm, and they're not engaged anymore. So I feel like we need to bring history to life. And this is what my transition of a problem to practice would be. So the focus area that I chose for a social studies topic was the causes of the American Revolution, which is a 5th grade standard. So we're talking about the Sugar Act, the Intolerable Acts, how British came down on the colonists, big events such as the Boston Tea Party, and also major players like the Sons of Liberty, which include Benedict Arnold or Samuel Adams, various people in history that unfortunately we just kind of, seems like we zoom through, and kids don't necessarily get to put themselves back there and understand what our country was based off of. So what I see in the classroom, again, is that most of the time we just read out of a book. That's it. There's a unit. So if the unit is Causes of the Revolution, we barrel through just a timeline and we're over. We're done. And that's all they get out of it. But history can be so much more fun. So my problem for practice, the transition that I would like to do, is to incorporate social media into this and almost have the kids think about what would it be like in the 1700s, or specifically around the time of the Boston Tea Party in 1773. What it would be like if social media was there? How would the communication be different? What kind of dialogue would open up? How would the other side respond? How would they choose their sides? That's all something that I think could get the kids truly engaged, because they can put themselves in it, they can control their own learning, and they can have an opinion. So the first aspect of this assignment that I would have the kids do is, of course, they need some background knowledge. They have to understand what is going on. Why are the colonists and the British fighting? Why are there patriots? Everybody's coming from Britain at that time, but why are there patriots and why are there loyalists? And what are these taxes? Why are they being put on them? So that would be the first aspect. So there has to be some explicit teaching. But once that is done and they have the core idea, the core knowledge, we can then move forward. And we can move forward in a way that we can draw in some elements that the kids, that's a part of their lives, that will help them better understand what's going on. And that's where the social media comes in. So before we get to the tech side of it, what I would do, well, there's a little bit of a tech side first. My idea was that, I'm sure we've all used SurveyMonkey before. So I think by establishing a baseline of knowledge of the scenario that's going on, not everybody's going to see eye to eye. So we could take a SurveyMonkey after they understand why the colonists were being taxed and see where people stand. Are they more on the colonist patriot side, or are they more on the British loyalist side? And once this is established, we can then kind of break apart and have a civil debate over this. This is where we would start, and we would split the classroom and break it in half and have an oral debate, and let them kind of control the conversation, and the teacher can be the moderator. So after the debate has completed, this is where the technology is going to come in. So what I would do is create 2 Google documents, one for the colonists and one for the British, and I would probably utilize Google Classroom. I'm fortunate enough to work in a school where every student has a one-to-one device, a Chromebook, so they could each individually be able to contribute to their side and type something up that they feel is important, maybe something that came from the debate that is fine-tuned that they want to move forward with. And after this is where the next bit of technology comes in, the social media part. And I have to give credit to some kudos to Maggie Downey for introducing me to Twittercate, because that is a really cool program that acts just like Twitter, but the teacher has full control over it. And what I mean is you can moderate everything that is there. So if there's anything that you see that the kids are putting up that you maybe don't feel is appropriate or even relevant to the nature, you could talk to them, maybe revise it, pull it down, and keep going from there. So it's not, they don't have a full control, but they're fully a part of it. So again, I would have my own account, and I could post something or tweet something such as, hear ye, has been decided that due to the unfair taxation of goods without colonist representation, action must be taken. Colonists, send me your thoughts. And that's just the colonist side. So from there, the colonists can create their own tweets and start developing a dialogue, taking in the history that we know, history that was formed in these small taverns in Boston, about how they were going to take the ship to Dartmouth, and throw the tea overboard. But it could go bit by bit, so that they're developing the idea, they're creating that dialogue, and it's bringing the history to life. And Twitter, obviously, clearly, with our chief leader there, that's a big part of our history going on right now, so it's relevant. And they can probably make a connection to that as well. Ultimately, we're looking to engage our students. We're changing this problem of practice for a reason. And by incorporating some of the things that we've learned here in class, it's almost a guarantee that these kids are going to be more interested in what it is they're learning, no matter the subject matter. With this specific subject that I chose and the way that I developed this lesson, I believe that I hit the SAMR model on at least 2 levels. One being the substitution level, in that it takes away from your regular note-taking. We can substitute that note-taking by using Google Docs, opening up collaboration. They can start their note-taking during the debate. They can start it during the explicit teaching of the facts of the Revolutionary War, and compile them, and then when it comes to collaboration, kind of fine-tune it as they go along. The second would be the redefinition level, and that's because of the collaboration on Twittercate. And this is something that wasn't available in years past, and now we can open up a dialogue in a completely different way. It's almost taking over readers' theater, if you will, because we're not reading a script. They're creating the script as they're going along. They're using fact-based evidence. They're using all the knowledge that they've gained over a unit and putting it together to make one cohesive piece in the end. Whether it be the colonist side or the British side, we could look at that complete Twitter feed at the end, and you're going to see the Boston Tea Party of 1773 play out. But it's not just going to be written by a historian. You're going to get it from the minds of some 11-year-olds, that it's the way that they're interpreting it. And that's what we want them to do. We want to be in control of their learning. So, I think that we've learned a lot in this class, and I believe that we could take a lot of the knowledge and move forward in every subject area that we have. I believe that we will really combat these adverse behaviors that tend to happen because of boredom or because of disinterest. And when we keep them engaged, they're bound to want to learn because they are in control of their learning. So with that said, again, this was a fun assignment. I look forward to actually implementing it someday into my own classroom. And I also look forward to watching your videos and learning from you as well, and taking some of what you've decided to do and bringing that into my classroom as well. So I thank you very much.